World News at 12 begins with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu today to meet with former President Muhammadu Buhari and former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo at the presidential villa. VOP News gathered that the president will also host Senate President Senator Godswill Akpabio, Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas, and other heavyweight members of the Ruling All Progressives Congress at the party's national caucus meeting. Other APC bigwigs expected to attend are Vice President Kashim Shettima, APC governors, former Senate President Ahmad Lawan, and ex-Speaker of House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila, including members of the National Working Committee. Now, a reliable source in the presidency said the president had given his consent to have the caucus meeting at the villa. The National Executive Committee meeting is scheduled to hold on Thursday at the Congress Hall of Transcorp Hilton in Abuja by 11 a.m. Elsewhere, the Forum of People's Democratic Party House of Representatives candidates in the recently concluded 2023 general election have expressed confidence that the party will prevail at the Presidential Elections Tribunal. It asked members of the party across the country to remain calm as they await the decision of the Presidential Election Petition Court. Engineer Ahmad Rufai Dagumawa, chairman of the forum, made the call during a news conference at the NUJ Press Center in Kano State on Tuesday. As Democrats, he stated, we urge members of our great party, the PDP, to remain calm and wait for the verdict. He stated further that a very positive expectation and good verdict that will enhance the dignity of the country's judicial system is what the anticipation is all about. The group stated that it had high hopes that the court will do the right thing in its decision because the judiciary is a common man's last resort. Concerning the reported divide among PDP members in the state, the forum stated that it was not aware of any schism inside the ranks of the party. According to the group, the PDP remained an indivisible party in the state, with its members unified for the sake of the party and the people of the state. Elsewhere, the spokesperson for the Obi Dati Presidential Campaign Council, Kenneth Okonkwo, has said that the Labour Party and its presidential candidate Peter Obi had remained the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, that the Supreme Court ruled that the electronic transmission of election results onto the INEC results viewing portal is part of the electoral process. In the statement which he released via his official Twitter handle on August the 1st, he also spoke about the 25% votes which has been a serious bone of contention in the February 25 presidential election. Kenneth Okonkwo said that to Peter Obi and the Labour Party, it is compulsory for a candidate to secure 25% votes in the FCT before he can be declared winner of the election. He stated further that if there is a case of a rerun of the election, it is Peter Obi that the Constitution permits to go for rerun. The Labour Party and Peter Obi are challenging the election result of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and one of the grounds they are doing so is that Tinubu did not get 25% votes in Abuja. The tribunal also reserved judgment to a date that will be communicated to the parties in the case after the adoption of Obi and Labour Party's final address. Now, Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the All Progressives Congress have asked the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal to disqualify the Labour Party's presidential candidate Peter Obi from recontesting in any rerun if the February 25 election was annulled. The legal team of Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima, led by Chief Wole Olanipekun, claimed that Peter Obi is not a member of the Labour Party and lacks the legal right to challenge the election outcome. VOP News gathered that in their joint petition, Obi and the Labour Party alleged that the presidential poll was rigged against him in about 18,088 polling units, totaling over 2.5 million votes. Aside from alleged overvoting that took place in parts of the Southwest, he also alleged that INEC's failure to upload results to the other portal in real time negatively impacted the polls. But Olanipekun argued that the Court of Appeal Lagos Division had ruled against the Labour Party that INEC had the discretion on the mode of collation of the election results. He added that Peter Obi has no legal right to challenge the election or be included in a rerun because he is not the second runner-up, stressing that Obi was not a member of the Labour Party and test the rerun. Now, on the U.S. court judgment that ordered Tinubu for forfeit of funds suspected to proceeds of narcotics, the use that were found in his account, Olanipekun noted that the 1999 Constitution states that a conviction has expired after 10 years. On his part, the APC's lead counsel and ministerial nominee, Lateef Fagbemi, equally adopted all the oral arguments of Olanipekun, saying Obi's petition, though ambitious, did not dispute that accreditation, voting, and collation of results did not take place. Now, in order for us to talk more about this, I have on the telephone Barrister Eze Eluche. However, I would like us to take a listen to one of Peter Obi's lead legal representative in person of Livi Uzuku, attending a press conference yesterday after the Labour Party tendered its final submission at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. Let's take a listen to him at first.
The only party that won 25% and above. Others came distant second, and distant third. Yes. On the short run, I do not want to predict the court because we presented a lot of issues. I thought that some of you should be very much worried that election conducted by INEC, we presented 18,088 board results from the IREF. Then INEC now gave us CTC of results. From there, we harvested 8,123 blood results. Some were completely blank. Some others were pictures of human beings. Some others buildings. Some others you have results that are not polling units, like ward results, local government election results, and so on and so forth. That is something that should worry every Nigerian. They relied on it. They relied on it to declare somebody a winner of an election. How can an institution, public institution like INEC, certified blank documents and say that it certified polling unit results, certified photographs and said it certified polling unit results? I mean, they should stop taking Nigerians and Nigeria for granted. It's very unfortunate that this type of thing should be happening in the 21st century. Other countries have moved on. We are still running round and round and round and round. Round and round, trying to organize election. Yet, we are behaving as if we are still in the primitive age, and that's what it is. That's what it is. That's a constitutional issue. So we addressed it sufficiently. So it's for the court. Yeah, there are so many grounds we presented. So it's for the courts to decide. So, but what is important is that we sufficiently presented our case in a most convincing manner. Thank you. Is the only party that won 25% and above in Abuja. So there's no way we could have been silent on that. The only party that won 25% and above. Others came distant second and distant third. Yes. On the issue of Rerun, I do not want to predict the court because we presented a lot of issues. I thought that some of you should be very much worried that the election conducted by INEC, we presented 18,088 blood results from the IREF. Then INEC now gave us CTC of results. From there, we harvested 8,123 blood results. Some were completely blank. Some others were pictures of human beings. Some others, buildings. Some others, you have results that are not polling units, like ward results, local government collection results, and so on and so forth. That is something that should worry every Nigerian.
They relied on it.
They relied
to
on
pronounce
it.
Somebody.
They relied on it to declare somebody the winner of an election. How can an institution, public institution like INEC, certified blank documents and say that it certified polling unit results, certified photographs and said it certified polling unit results? I mean, they should stop taking Nigerians and Nigeria for granted.
Barrister Luce, good afternoon and welcome to the World News at 12 on VOP 90.3 FM. Barrister Eze, can you hear me? Barrister Eze Luce, can you hear me? Okay, we seem to have lost connection with Barrister Eze Luce, but we'll... All right, the voice you just heard is Levi Uzuku, the Labour Party presidential candidate, or rather the Labour Party legal practitioner, stating that INEC did not do the needful in the February 25 presidential elections. Of course, you heard him tell you that blood results were uploaded on the IREF portal. Even they, while trying to get these results, they found it very difficult. Barrister Eze, good afternoon and welcome to the World News at 12 on VOP 90.3 FM.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you for having me on your
Good afternoon, sir. We lost you there. Barrister, as I'm sure you heard Levi Uzuku, the legal representative for Peter Obi and the Labour Party. Now, you heard what Tinubu is saying. Tinubu is justifying that if there is going to be a rerun, it should be between the APC and the PDP. The Labour Party should be disqualified. They are not even eligible to be part of a rerun. Now, this is the third time we're hearing from top individuals in all these political parties who are contending the victory of February 25 at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. It almost feels like, based on all the evidences that were tendered by each of these candidates, there's a strong possibility of a rerun. They've been mentioning it so strong lately. I know we've had that conversation initially, but it's a very strong one this time around. What do you have to say concerning what Tinubu is claiming by saying that if there is going to be a rerun, he and the PDP are the only parties qualified to go toe-to-toe, and the Labour Party should not be, because Peter Obi was not part of the Labour Party from the initial concept?
Well, to start with, I think the practice of lawyers who already have matters before the court, who have already presented their matters to the judges, coming out and addressing press conferences, is a bit novel. It is not the ideal. It's not the way it should be. So and you will see that this fault is mainly on the part of the Labour Party candidate.
Okay,
so
you're saying they shouldn't have addressed the press at all?
No. I mean, it's becoming so repetitive. I mean, they always do it every time they come.
They are not the only ones. The legal team of the PDP also did as well yesterday.
Well, what I'm trying to say is that yes, these issues are so much in the public domain.
Okay.
That's why people like us have always advocated that the court should expeditiously give its judgment in this matter.
All right.
So that one way or the other, people will know the country will know where it's heading to. But with regards to your question as to whether Peter Obi is legitimately a part of Labour Party, it is never in the purview of the respondent, that is APC and their candidate, Bola Tinubu, to begin to say who is a member of the party or who is not. The fact is, if the Labour Party have presented Peter Obi as their candidate, he is their candidate. Their argument has been that at the time when the list of candidates was submitted to INEC, Peter Obi's name was not there. But parties in Nigeria have a power to waive period of membership as one of the conditions for contesting for election.
Okay.
And it has been done severally. Some people have come into parties a week or 2 weeks to the date and they are waived. So the issue is, has the party lawfully submitted that person as a candidate? And the moment the party submits anybody's name as a candidate and we pass through the party's lawful processes, it is no longer in the power of other parties to say this is not a genuine candidate of Labour Party or whatsoever. So I don't know why the APC keeps on hammering on what has been long adjudicated upon by even the Supreme Court. So P.W. is lawfully a candidate of the Labour Party because he was presented by the Labour Party. And we see the chairman of the party always present in court with their candidate at all times. So that issue is overflowed.
But on what premise is Tinubu making this statement? Because they seem to have a credible stance to make that statement that he should not even contest the outcome of the election because he's not a member of the Labour Party. Could it be what transpired in Kaduna State with one of the House of Representative member whom was said was not part of the Labour Party, before he ran, and at the time the court crossed him out, although that matter has been resolved?
No, the issue is you can't easily use what transpired in another case to discuss to analyze what's going on in this case now.
Okay.
Because the young man in Kaduna, if you recollect, he was a cyclist.
Yes.
So I don't know the level of legal representation he was able to afford. So if he was not able to get proper legal advice and from the counsel of good standing, he will not be able to withstand the pressure of the other parties. So you cannot really use what transpired in Kaduna or elsewhere to compare with what is going on in a matter where you have up to 6 or 7 senior advocates of Nigeria who are going to bring out the best kind of legal argument. So, but as regards to what is making the APC and the Bola Tinubu raise this issue repeatedly, well, a drowning man will always want to clutch at something. So it is their right to use whatever argument they can smuggle in to see if they can win their matter.
All right, okay.
Yes.
So can you explain where they say that he has, that is in this instance, based on Wale Olanikpeku, that Peter Obi has no legal right to challenge the election or be included in a rerun because he's not the second runner-up. They stress that Obi was not a member. So if at all there is going to be a rerun, let's just say it's been declared by the judges of the Election Petition Tribunal, because the Labour Party came third, does it mean in that they're not qualified? It shouldn't be between the Labour Party and the PDP or the Labour Party and the APC. It should be between the PDP and the APC because that's basically what their final address is stating at the court on Monday.
Yes, their position is very right, but that depends on what the court rules. Because if you recollect, the Labour Party and the PDP are also saying that the APC does not have any candidate, any lawful candidate in this election. So if the court holds that APC does not have any lawful candidate, that means the first and second becomes the PDP and the Labour Party, because totally the APC is removed from it. But if the court rules that the APC is a genuine candidate and lawful candidate and then orders a runoff, the runoff election is usually between the first and the second in the election, which means in that instance, Labour Party will not be part of that runoff election. That is just how it is. But if they succeed in knocking in the argument that because of constitutional constraints, APC does not have a lawful candidate, that means Bola Tinubu and Kashim Shettima are not candidates, and that leaves only Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi as candidates. So those are the two arguments. But the argument that Labour Party should not be a candidate, it depends on what the court rules. Yes.
All right. So for now, apparently all the aggrieved parties have tendered all their final addresses at the Election Petition Tribunal. It's now time for the judges at the Election Petition Tribunal to conclude and eventually give details on who actually won the February 25 elections. But let's look at, based on this, we've been following through these cases ever since on the World News at 12, including the political spotlight and other political programs on VOP here. Based on what has been prevented, if there is going to be a rerun, who do you suppose it could be between, if there is going to be a rerun?
Well, I've answered the question. I said, if, for instance, the court agrees with the Labour Party and the PDP that Mr. Bola Tinubu and Kashim Shettima are not lawfully candidates for that election, that automatically means that the APC is ruled out. And that will now leave only the Labour Party and the PDP to contest for the runoff. But let us also realize that with the amount of illegalities and bad, obscure results that were delivered, the court can actually order for a fresh election to take place. That will now mean that all the other parties will be part of that process again. So there are several things that can still happen in several decisions that the court can come up with, because the parties also ask for the cancellation of the election and a fresh election or a runoff between the first and second. So the court has very many options to decide upon.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Barrister Ezeluche, for your contribution on the World News at 12. I sincerely do appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Now, still on the World News at 12, the organized labor comprising the Nigeria Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress are currently carrying out their mass protests in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, also Lagos. The protesters, numbering over 5,000 who have been peaceful, first converged at the Unity Fountain, Abuja, close to Transcorp Hilton Hotel, from where they marched to the Federal Ministry of Justice before proceeding to the National Assembly. At the National Assembly, security personnel initially prevented the protesting crowd from gaining entrance to the complex. But upon their superior officer's intervention, the gate was thrown open. You'll recall that Labour has been adamant about carrying out the protests to press home their grievances over hardship being felt by the majority of Nigerians since President Bola Tinubu announced a fuel subsidy removal policy. Both President of the NLC, Joe Ajaro, and his TUC counterpart, Festus Osufo, were seen at the forefront leading the protest in the nation's capital. Let's take a listen to the solidarity chants right on at the convergence ground. And those were the chants of the labor union members at various convergence ground or various convergence points at the Federal Capital Territory, also in Lagos, letting out their grievances on the current economic hardship since fuel subsidy removal was imposed. Now, in order for us to wrap up the world news at 12 here again are the top stories. President Tinubu to meet Buhari, Oshibajo, Akpabio, other APC heavyweights. PDP Forum confident of victory at Presidential Election Tribunal. Kenneth Okonkwo insists in the case of a rerun constitutionally, Obi only candidate permitted. Peter Obi, not Labour Party member, rerun election between Atiku and Tinubu begs Tribunal. And protest grounds SCT as over 5,000 storm National Assembly. That is a wrap on the World News at 12, right here in Voice of the People 90.3 FM. My name is